Hello and welcome to Not Gambling Advice, the baseball betting stream on the Just Baseball Network. It is Thursday, May 25th, and we're already coming off a winner. Sometimes I've been kind of bad in afternoon games, and sometimes vibes are a little bit low, right? We lost on the Mariners' first five, I think maybe a week ago or so, and we were sweating that out in chat, and it ended up losing. Good thing is we hit that pick later in the day. So it's like we needed it, right? We never want a reverse sweep. That ain't the case this time. Rays, first 5 innings, easy money. Get out of here, Alek Manoah. You're not that guy. But that, of course, is not factored into the stream, right? This stream is specific. We go over the nightcap because these are games that we want you to tail if you so choose, if you like the pitches. We're going to give you all the information for you to make the most informed decision, right? I'm going to go over my pick. I'm going to run you through it. We also have a bunch of our MLB cappers. We got 9 different people with 16 different picks, and we only have like 6 games tonight. So you're going to hear both sides of the argument in order to give you the best bet humanly possible. And then, of course, we're going to go over the model, show you the numbers, all of that good stuff to get you ready. But of course, we play all of our game picks on BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Use code JBFans when you download for all new users. Everybody's like, where do you find all these lines? They're all on BetMGM. Wager $10 on any MLB money line and receive $100 in bonus bets. And then, of course, they're all tracked on the Pickett Sports app. Use code Peter to when you sync your sportsbook. You'll be entered into a raffle anywhere from $3 to $100. Do we have the leaderboard to show the people, Producer Cohen? There it is, right? We sit here. I'm currently in first place, which is great. But of course, things could change. But the reason is, and why you should root for me, is that if I win at the end of the season, if I win, a subscriber of this Twitch stream will get tickets to the World Series. And if I finish second, a $500 cash prize. And I'm planning on winning this thing. And it starts with the pick today. And then we'll get into prize picks later on. But it starts with the pick today. But let's do a quick recap of how we did on Wednesday's stream. Because, of course, we didn't stream yesterday. Weren't too many games. Not enough people had plays. So, this was Tuesday's stream? Why was it Tuesday? Oh, yeah, because today's Thursday. Duh. Yeah, I'm an idiot. All right. So, wait, can you do the recap? So, we went 1-2. It just really wasn't a good day, right? We were up over 12 units on stream. I think it was around 12.83. That's what it was because we went down 1.1 units. Chicago versus Cleveland. I mean, I could bitch about the White Sox, but, I know who they are, which is kind of a reason why I'm on the other side of them today. St. Louis Cardinals versus Cincinnati. That was one of the easiest overs ever. I'm actually kicking myself. That should have been a play of the year because I loved it so much. But the only thing that sketched me out was why is it at 9.5? But then it just rose to 10.5, got so much juice. And I was like, yeah, that was the right play. That was the only reason I didn't play it. What was that last loss? Atlanta through the first 5. We played a system. It lost. It's going to lose, obviously, but we got to play it. And that wasn't even the system. But again, the first 5 money line did lose. So it's just a bad play, right? Spencer Strider got absolutely killed. His first 5 -0.5. What are you going to do? We lost that one, but we've been on a little bit of a roll since. We hit our play yesterday, hit our first play today. Now let's get into our first play of the day. Second play of the day because we already hit our first play. Chicago White Sox versus the Detroit Tigers at 6:40 p.m. Eastern. The pitching matchup is Lucas Giolito versus Alex Faedo. So I made this joke on the Book It stream, and you might have heard it maybe in my TikTok or something else. I don't have much of a life outside of baseball, to be quite honest with you. What I do is I wake up, I write the article, record the TikTok, record my Not Gambling Advice podcast, record our Just Baseball show, do my spots on other networks, do the stream, go home, watch baseball, go to bed, wake up the next morning and do it again. I love it. But what that means to say is I don't have a life outside of baseball. So what I was doing last night while I was watching other baseball games was I was watching Alex Faedo tape to see, right? Because I looked at the game and I was like, Faedo's got a 3.53 xERA. That's kind of interesting. Is he back? So I was like, all right, the stuff looked better. The spin rates are up. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch this guy. He looked good. Alex Faedo was considered one of the top pitching prospects in the draft back in 2016 or 2017, but injuries kept him from making his debut until last season. I mean, you're watching the video right now. Like, look at this pitch. That's a good-ass slider, and that's perfectly placed. Look at this. Bang. These are good-ass pitches. So he made his debut last season, and it wasn't really all that special, right? Didn't command within the strike zone, routinely led up free passes. His 10% walk rate elevated his FIP and xERA to 5.53. This season, things have turned around in a really limited sample. The velocity and spin rates, like I said, up across the board. Fastball, elite amount of horizontal break, and opponents are only hitting 214 against it with a 324x WOBA. And the slider, when you're generating a 42% whiff rate against a pitch, it's elite. And opponents are only hitting 190 against the slider. But home runs have been the issue thus far. He's allowed 3 runs in each of his 3 starts. That's why his ERA is around 4.5. But the thing is, he's not allowing anything else. And he's only allowed 12 hits and 1 walk in 15 2/3. His xERA sits at 3.53. But his FIP is 6.09 because what does FIP do? It counts for strikeouts, walks, home runs. He's allowed a lot of home runs. He's not really striking out anybody. And the walk rate has been good. But the thing is, against this White Sox team, I don't think the home runs are necessarily going to be there. And we know what the White Sox do, right? They don't hit with runners in scoring position. They're bad at just getting runs across the plate. I'm taking a gamble on him having a good start today, and I like him a lot. But then on the flip side, right, we have Lucas Giolito, who's also turning in a really solid season. His command has been much better, which is key for Lucas Giolito, cutting his walk rate in half since the previous year. He's just not a very popular pitcher due to the variance, which is year over year with him. But this year, right, he seems to be figuring stuff out. He's faced the Tigers a number of times over his career when he's been a worse version of himself through 182 plate appearances, rocking a 326x WOBA and a 427 expected slug. Those are above average, but we're seeing a better version of him this year. And Faedo, he's going to face a White Sox lineup that ranks 26 in WRC plus in May against right-handed pitching. If we look at the entire season, they still rank 26 in Major League Baseball. Not a good offense against righties. We like them. That's why we took the over, right? They were facing Logan Allen, much better against lefties, not against righties. Tigers' worst split is also against right-handed pitching. We know that they're not very good against righties. They sit 28th in WRC plus, 2 well below average offenses in this exact split. But we have to also figure in the bullpen, right? Because I like the first 5 under. I think the first 5 under hits. But I like the bullpens. I'm not a fan of the White Sox bullpen in general, especially when their key arms are not rested. Then you will never see me on that. But when they are rested, I can get behind it. Kendall Graveman, Joe Kelly, Gregory Santos, and Kenyon Middleton. 4 quality arms. Not great. I'm not expecting them to shut out through the end of the game. But I do think that if those guys, let's say Giolito, 5 innings, 2 runs. I think the Tigers are going to be held to 3 runs. I don't see a lot of runs being scored against that bullpen because a lot of them, of course, are righties. All of them are. And then the Tigers just have a good bullpen. They rank 11th in ERA and 4th in WHIP. Maybe I dug into Faedo too much, and perhaps this game goes over. If we look at both the games I put out today, I put out the Rays through the first 5, and I put out this over. I like the Rays through the first 5 better, and it hit. But I still really like this one. But the thing is, the model doesn't love this one as much as plays I usually bring you, right? They have this game at 7.5 at minus 115. Still showing value, of course, but just not like the 2 runs of value that we're used to seeing by the model. So right now, I'm pretty sure it's at 8. Let's go to BetMGM and give it a quick look. I know it's been, it's at 8 at minus 105. I think that's worthy of a play at a unit, right? I'm putting 1.2 units on under 8.5. It's a key number there at 8. I think worst case scenario, it ends at 8. Obviously, worst case scenario is it ends on 30 and the White Sox win 15-14 or something like that. That's worst case scenario. But the way I'm looking at this game, I think it either lands on 8 or goes under. I think both starters turn in solid outings. Comerica's Park, where it's being played today, Comerica Park in Detroit, we're seeing a 10% decrease in expected runs based on weather projections, right? Pitchers Park already playing towards the pitchers. I like both bullpens. Give me the under 8.5. Does anybody have any questions in chat? One Deep Ski, subscribe to Tier 1. What a stud. Atta baby. Kendall Graveman sucks. I don't think so. Are the Tigers absolute trash bags against righties this season? Yeah. I mean, 28th in WRC plus. Would you play this now at under 8 at minus 105 or under 8 at minus 135? It's a good question. I really like the 8.5 number. I really do. But what I would do is if you have the option of either, I think I would do minus 135, but don't put 1.35 units, right? Just put the 1.2 units, exactly what I have. So if I lose, we lose the same exact, and you would win like 0.07 units less, or I don't know the math there. I think that's the way to do it. What do you think full game total dropped to 8, but first 5 holding it 4.5? Exactly. Like I think the bullpens will be good in this game. Richie Parlay subscribing at a tier 1. What a beast. Can you explain WRC plus? Absolutely. I'm a nerd. I will totally explain it to you. So WRC plus is weighted runs created plus. It's based on weighted runs created, right? So it takes in a lot of different stats. I don't know the exact formula, but basically what it does is it takes everything in Major League Baseball and puts it into how many runs you create for your team. But what the plus is it's park adjusted, right? Because CJ Cron in Coors Field has a much better chance of playing well offensively than CJ Cron does in Comerica Park. So what it does is 100 is league average. And this is why it's my favorite offensive stat, because it's also really easy to digest. Basically, I think it's the best hitting. Hype train coming. Pure 068 subscribing to tier 1. What a stud. Thank you, my friend. So basically, 100 is league average. So a league average hitter right now, the only hitter in Major League Baseball, is Michael Conforto. So everyone above Michael Conforto is above league average. Everyone below is below. And it's percentile, right? So if you have a 110 WRC plus, you're 10% better than a league average hitter, even when it's park adjusted, right? So that's what I look at. So an 83 WRC plus against righties for the Tigers or the White Sox is 17% below the league average team against right-handed pitchers. Hopefully I explained it well enough. It's my favorite offensive stat. Of course, XWOL, but there's a lot of other stats I like, and there's not one. Literally, it might be my favorite question. I mean, it's the most nerdy shit of all time, and I'm that guy. I love breaking down the numbers with you. So that's my only pick for today. Excuse me. We already had the race to the first 5, which cashed, so we're sitting pretty right now. The worst thing that could happen today is that we lose 0.2 units. I don't think we will. I think it's going to cash. But we have a lot more games to go to. We have a lot of people that are coming on stream, so let's get straight into the model. Let's get straight into the model because we have park factors, game simulations, and a matchup machine in order to give you the math behind all of these games. And we're going to start with this one. And as you can see, 7.5 is at minus 123. But it did a little bit of an adjustment, right? So now it's at 7.5. Should post that on Twitter or TikTok. I actually already did. If you scroll through our TikTok, it is already a video I made last season. So 7.5 at minus 123. If you go to ballparkpal.com and you refresh the page, it went down, which is a good thing for us. So as you can see on the model, 8.5 at plus 115. Now it's plus 120, right? Faedo gave up 7 runs on 9 hits against Chicago White Sox last June. White Sox have the worst bullpen in baseball. Got to stay off this one. Totally fine by me. You know, if you do whatever you want. What I will say is that whole first segment is of how he's improved and how the White Sox have their quality arms available. But if you still don't like that, again, all I'm trying to do is give you the best bet possible. If you don't like it, stay off it. I understand. Who has the best WRC plus in the league? I think it's Yandy Diaz. So that was this game. As you could tell, good value on the Tigers here. Right? If we pull that model back up, there's some good value on the Tigers. Not a ton, but with the adjustment, as you can see, the Tigers' implied winning percentage is 49.6, which would make the implied line plus 102. Right now, it's at minus 105. So what we saw is adjustment towards the Tigers and adjustment towards the under, which makes me feel good about my Alex Faedo feeling that he pitches really well today. White Sox projection came down from 4.46 to 4.30. So we're on the right track here. Good stuff, like the under, and we're going to play it. Let's move on to the second game on the model. We got the Baltimore Orioles taking on the New York Yankees, and this has not adjusted at all. We're still looking at basically a pick 'em. Slight value on the under if you're getting it at 9 runs. But again, I have a very hard time betting an under with these two pitchers on the mound, but maybe it could be a little bit of a contrarian angle. Don't have much on this game. Obviously, Clark Schmidt and his crazy reverse splits are not ideal, cannot get out left-handed hitters. Adley Rutschman is a good guy on Prize Picks today. And Cone, would you mind showing the code for Prize Picks? Because honestly, it might be worthy of sprinkling a stack on the Baltimore Orioles, whether that be Cedric Mullins, whether that be Adley Rutschman, whether that be Gunnar Henderson, because Clark Schmidt can still not get out a lefty. If you are new to Prize Picks, use code JUSTBASEBALL when you download for a full instant deposit match. I'm thinking about possibly entering in an Orioles stack after this podcast just to fade Clark Schmidt and my New York Yankees. Because if I know the Yankees, I know that Clark Schmidt is not very good against lefties. But again, model showing value on the under, so we'll see what happens. Where do you find WRC Plus stats? So this is on Fangraphs. Fangraphs has it. Mullins isn't playing. All right. Well, maybe the under is a good play. I don't know why Mullins isn't playing. Is it an injury thing? But let's move on to the next game on the model. So we have the Atlanta Braves versus the Philadelphia Phillies. As we can see, some value on the over, I guess. Not really. If you were leaning Phillies versus first 5, not much value in this entire game. Not much. Don't really have much on it. I know that Nola has been good against the Braves in his career, and the Phillies can hit a lefty, but I just don't know what Dylan Dodd is going to give us today, right? His brief cameo in the majors. What are you saying, Cone? Yeah, 2 different people. So this is why we're also bringing this up, because as you can see, I don't really see any value either direction, but we're going to have plenty of picks today in this game. It's a tough game. Really tough game. If you could find 9.5, there's some decent value on that under, but not something I think is actionable, right? Just because the model shows value doesn't mean it's actionable. Dodd's a bum. Acuna over 1.5 bases against Nola. I would prefer to take his fantasy score. I don't know what it's at because of the stolen base threat, right? Acuna could totally go over 1.5 bases. That's why Prize Picks is the best for props, because you can get those fantasy scores, especially for a guy like Acuna. I always recommend playing the fantasy over the bases, because let's say he gets a walk, steals second, it's like 6 fantasy points. Let's say he's at 8.5. All he needs is a single. Wouldn't hit over 1.5 bases, would hit the fantasy score. And that's something with Acuna especially that happens all the time. And with Aaron Nola, he's not a big walk guy, but you never know. The Phillies bullpen might be at the end of the game, right? We're not just handicapping the starters. So if you like Acuna, I would take him on Prize Picks at 8.5 fantasy. I think that's what he is. Let me do a quick check of the Prize Picks board. I think that's what I saw him at. He's always that high anyway. Like maybe Ronald Acuna fantasy with a Nikola Jokic free square on Prize Picks. Let me see. Acuna. Oh, he's not even up on Prize Picks. That's interesting. JT gunning him down. I can see that. All right, we'll see. Let's move on to the next game on the slate. As you can tell, not much. Decent value on the Cubs, right? I think the line is probably about where it should be. Grichuk doing Himothy things. Austin Nola Day, no. I liked him against Trevor Williams. Maybe he gets a hit today, but I like that matchup in particular. Don't love his matchup as much today. And I think, is he not playing right now? Yeah, he's currently playing against the Nationals. So even if I wanted to play him, couldn't play him on stream. I don't know how you can back Carrasco. Tomas is going to come on, and he is hammering the Chicago Cubs. So I wanted to bring you guys this game, show you guys where the value is. He's on the Cubs. A lot of people on the over, right? At 8.5. Not much value according to the model, but you're going to hear their pitch. Mets moneyline squad ride. Ooh, Carrasco. The gentlemen want to be contrarian. We will see. We will see. This is a battle of pitchers that there's no shot I would want to back. Kyle Hendricks coming back for a minute from an injury, throwing 84. No, thank you. Carlos Carrasco, producer Cohen, you're a Mets fan. How has Carrasco looked? He's horrible. So I don't know how the squad ride, 8.5, maybe contrarian bounce back spot. I get it. You guys are going to come on and pitch it. I'm willing. I want to hear it. I would not bet on the Mets. I would not. Maybe it hits. I mean, I don't know how you can properly handicap the game, but I'm very interested to see it. I'm very, very interested to see it. All right, let's get to the next game on the model. Anyone give a shit about this game? We got the A's with value again, according to the model. Great job, model. They just love the frickin' Oakland A's. Anyone got anything? I mean, like, Gilbert against the A's should shove. A's better splitters against lefties. They absolutely suck against righties. Terrible bullpen. Mariners got the bullpen advantage. They got every other advantage. And yet still the model is like, you know what? No, Peter, you don't know what you're talking about. The A's should be plus 175. And no. So let's do a quick refresh of the model. If I'm not mistaken, has a starter even been announced in that game? The Giants? No. Who's pitching for the Brewers today? Does anyone even know? Let me see. They announced Julio Teheran. He's no way. That's actually sick. Sean Alexander versus Julio Teheran. Don't bet on that game. Don't bet on that game. You're going to be in moose piss if you bet on that game. I think there's an argument that no bet in that game hits. That both teams just give up. It might end in a tie. Scott Alexander versus Julio Teheran. Miss me. Yeah, we'll give Arm a text because he's about to come on soon. Ready for you, Arm. All right, so those are the only games left on the slate. Of course, we got Arm coming on cue. Wow, perfect timing. Let's get to the picks. Excited to welcome our guy Arm on. What's up, my friend? How are you?
How we doing? New background just dropped at my mom's house, so you can see finally not in like a little closet in New York for a little bit. Got to be able to compete a little bit with your backdrop. Nothing will beat that backdrop though. They really crushed it with that studio backdrop.
Absolutely crushed it. I have a question for you. So you and Colby, I would say, are rivals in this competition. Like, we're all in a competition, but wouldn't you say that Colby's your rival? Like, you know, you're the Yankees, he's the Red Sox, or something like that?
Yeah, I just like Colby's been a friend of mine since college. And yeah, I would say that I like to see him succeed, but not more than me.
I like that.
So, you know, unless it's somewhere else. But when it comes to this shit, he has gambling in his bio. I have prospects in my bio. I don't want to beat him in what's in his fucking bio. That's the best way to put it down. But he's hot. And I don't want to see him lose coin, but I want to do better.
I like that. The reason I brought it up, so Colby was on a cold streak. Then he went to Spain and basically took it all off. He was like, if I'm not in my element, I can't make picks. Then he grew a mustache. You're in Florida. You're not afraid of that.
No.
Like, that's maybe why you and Colby are built a little bit different.
I'm not afraid of no mustache. And see, I would do it, but you have to understand, like, with my skin color and my dad being half Hispanic, if I just have a mustache, I will be all in on the Latin side of things. And I don't know if I want to go all in there. I would look really, really, really Latin. So if I lose this, though, if Colby starts catching me, I might have to do the mustache thing. So I'm hoping for my sake, like, no mustache either. I just want to cop some dubs today. I threw out a pick that couldn't be used. Was Nationals Padres, right? Over 9.
Yeah,
Did that end up hitting?
Well, right now we are looking at 2-1 in the third. So you're on pace right now.
Technically speaking, until the Padres bullpen becomes disgusting in the back half, I'm sure. Padres had bases loaded, no outs, and didn't score. I will not watch games where I have the over-under for the most part. It's just agony. Even the over,
agony.
Especially when it's a Padres Nationals over. The Padres are the worst team in the history of the world with runners in scoring position. It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. Like a Blake Snell start with the Padres. Like, I don't know how anyone like you work like a good job, right? You come home with your paycheck and you decide to put it on Blake Snell. What's wrong with people? Like, you work hard for that money. You're going to put it on Blake Snell?
That's like 2 hours of work evaporated. Because you wanted to put it on the Twitch stream guy. Yeah.
Let's get into your picks. What do you got for us?
All right. So first and foremost, would you say, I'll kick it to you here, Kyle Hendricks on the bump. What do you think the general public's reaction would be to Kyle Hendricks on the bump?
Bad.
Fade. Right? Fade. He was comically bad in his first couple rehab starts. And then he started to look like Kyle Hendricks again. And remember, Kyle Hendricks, it's not about the stuff. It's about him feeling good enough to be able to hit his spots left and right. He needs to be pinpoint to be good. He hadn't thrown in months. He wasn't pinpoint. 87 is going to get shellacked when you're not pinpoint. The last few starts in AAA, he has been pinpoint. And the last start, our guy Jack McMullen could probably tell you about it. 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 6 Ks. I know it's AAA.
Jack called the game and let us know about it. He was like, he's kind of back.
He's kind of back. 2 starts before that, 5 shutty against Toledo. They need to face Toledo again. So they had just seen him, face him again. He goes 5 innings of 2-run ball. Only way they got to him was with a home run. Only 2 walks in his last 16 innings. He looks all the way back to being that surgical guy. I don't think he's going to be dominant. Don't get me wrong. I know he's Kyle Hendricks, but he doesn't need to be because Carlos Carrasco has been a disaster. And Carrasco is a guy that's been banged up, but hasn't really found his groove yet. Even his rehab starts weren't good. This is a fade of Carrasco here. And I did consider going with the first 5, but ultimately I like the Cubs at home full game, especially, when you get the bottom of the 9th in your favor. I like the Cubs to win it money line. What was it for MGM? It was -110. I'm trying to see what I got it at here.
Yeah, let me
see. I got it at -115. -115. But
and it's still -115.
I like the Cubs at home here. I think the Hendricks advantage is there, but I also didn't want to put all the eggs on the Hendricks basket. I also feel good that if Carrasco gets bounced early, this Mets bullpen has held up their end of the bargain, but it's really the back end that's doing it. Carrasco, I don't think goes more than 4 or 5. I think that they can get to them in 6 and 7, and there's nothing worse than when you have a first 5 bet and they score in the 6th. I didn't want to suffer that. I like the Cubs in this game at home.
Is Tommy Hunter still on the Mets?
Because
if he follows Carrasco, he's not.
Is he?
Producer Cohen's like, he's got to be sent down by now. Because if he comes in following Carrasco, the Cubs are going to win.
No, he's still there, and he hasn't thrown in a while. So
Cohen's just shaking his head, pissed.
Yeah, what does producer Cohen think of this pick?
Yeah, what do you think, Cubs or Mets?
I want Carrasco to shove today. And just
but gun to your head, who are you picking?
You take the Cubs here.
He just said, you take the Cubs here, gun to my head.
So the one thing I'll say about Carrasco, last big league start against the Guardians, and the Guardians are so putrid offensively right now. I know they're better against righties. I understand that. But 5 earned runs against them. The command just didn't look good. The stuff didn't look great. The stuff was a little even diminished in his AA rehab starts. I know he didn't give up a lot of runs, but he just didn't look great there. I don't feel good. I root for Carrasco, just not today. I think he's going to run into some trouble on the road at Wrigley. And the Cubs bats are coming to life a little bit. I'm going to pull my yard card as well. I'm going to pull my yard card. Breaking ball hanger, Matt Mervis, gone.
Bang. Love that. Love that. We talked about that when I took his over half base. You're like, he loves soft stuff down. And Carrasco only has soft stuff.
Yeah. And it's all, he likes to work the bottom of the zone. Well, I'm trying to remember what his home run was. He just hit his first at Wrigley the other day. What I'm trying to remember what the pitch was, but I thought it was a breaking ball as well. He stayed inside one other way. I think he goes yard on Carrasco here.
I love it, my man. Good stuff. But you got more picks.
Got one more. Phillies first 5.
Huh.
This is a Dylan Dodd fade.
Hmm.
And Peter, I actually would love some context from you because this one seemed like almost too obvious. And maybe it's not too obvious because it is the Braves and they are at home. But for a first 5 bet here where I'm getting the better pitcher. And I know Aaron Nola hasn't looked fantastic, but he's looked a lot better than Dylan Dodd. And Dylan Dodd, like this is a victim of circumstance type thing. They considered Soroka, but Soroka just threw recently, so he didn't line up here. So they had to go to Dodd. Dodd did not earn this. And I know Dodd looked good in spring training, but it's kind of been a disaster since then. His last couple starts in AAA have been bad. And I think it's important to add the context to that too. He's not pitching in the PCL. He's pitching in pitcher-friendly environments. And Dodd went to Nashville. And minor league park factor is important here. Nashville is one of the best pitchers' parks in the minor leagues. Back-to-back starts in Nashville, 8 innings, 12 earned runs in Nashville. Followed that up with 4 decent innings against Memphis. But I'm going to side with the bulk here, of which has been struggles for Dodd. And I think that this Phillies lineup, they're starting to show life. They're starting to get going. They're coming off that walk-off. The lineup's coming alive a little bit. I think that the value's there because the Braves are so good, but the Braves can't overcome a terrible start from Dylan Dodd, which I think is what they're going to get. And Nola, yeah, there's familiarity there, but Nola in his career has been pretty decent against the Braves, and the Braves have not seen him yet this year. I think that they can squeeze out at least an edge in the first 5, and I love that I'm getting the money line. I don't need -1/2 run, getting money line. So worst case is a push. I feel good about that. So first 5 money line at -110. To me, that was one that I had to jump all over.
Here's why I think it's priced the way it is. And before I even start, you got a 5-cent adjustment going your way, -115 now. So the reason why I think it's a pick 'em when it's like, why is it a pick 'em? Think about the game for a second. What other advantage do the Phillies have than the starting pitcher? Braves have home field advantage. They're the far better team. They're much more familiar with Nola, but Nola has been very good against the Braves in his career. You look at Dodd, terrible in the minors, not ready, but the Phillies have struggled mightily against left-handed pitching, mightily. So it's like, that's why when I was, I thought like 9.5, which is available on BetMGM right now. I was like, if I were to make a play on this game, I actually would be on the under. Because I think that Dodd is like one of those guys where against the Phillies is like 5 innings, 2 runs. I think you get your bet because I think you get 6 innings, 2 runs out of Nola because the Braves, weirdly enough, have been league average offense against righties. So I actually think that this bet hits. I think it's going to be a sweat, which is why the line is the way that it is. But then I think offense kind of slows late. And I actually think the Braves might win this game later.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the Braves bullpen has not been that good. Like, there's a lot of arms that I love, and they haven't been that good. That's why it's like there's so many conflicting things that it's like I don't see really an edge on either side. But I would slightly lean towards the under, and I slightly like this Phillies first 5. But I think there's a possibility that you get Dylan Dodded, where he's like throwing it down the middle, and the Phillies just fuck up. Like Tomas. I even got called out for hating on Tomas. I'm like, I've just seen the Phillies too much where I'm like, they just sometimes have everything going their way and they still suck. Like they are excruciating to watch when they're not doing well. But then when they are doing well, it's great. So it's like, I think you're going to be on the right side, but at the same time, I think it's going to be a mega sweat.
Yeah, I hear everything you're saying too. And I'm hoping that they carry some of that momentum off of that, walk-off win there. The offense is a little bit better as of late. But yeah, it's a sweat. But this was one where once I checked back in on Nola's numbers against the Braves, I felt like I got to take this chance here. I think all of the reasons that you laid out are why the much inferior pitcher is not, heavily priced against in a first 5 bet. And I got to take a chance at that. This is really a straight fade of Dodd. And again, I think that if it was -1/2 run, I'd be worried. I love that the push, like a tie I can push here with the money line, because I could see like a 2-2 through the first 5. if the offense doesn't quite get going, especially with the point that you put up of the Braves not being as good as you would expect against righties. I have a question for you real quick before I jump and let you move on to the next one. Should I take a first 5 under here? How do you feel about that? Five. It's 5.
It is at 5, and I like that. That's a good number. I kind of think it's going to be 3-2, and you win your Phillies first 5 bet.
Like, is that a good half unit hedge? Like off the not part of the stream, but like
I think I'd rather take the full game under because I think like where do we think the offense is going to come in this game? I think it's going to come off Dodd or like the Phillies
or
bullpen.
The Phillies pen. Yeah.
And I think if there's going to be runs in this game, I think it's going to be early. So I would prefer to take 9.5 at -120 over the first 5 because I actually think that's where it's going to land.
Okay.
And then I think the game ends on 9.
I'll take that.
So that's where I'd lean. But again, I don't like it. I ain't playing it. But like, that's what I'd lean.
I'm so ready to watch Kyle Hendricks just be surgical.
I like that play more.
I'm so ready for that. But
I think you go 2-0. I like the plays. Appreciate you, my friend. We'll talk to you soon. Miami Aram vibes.
Hell yeah.
We love it.
Appreciate you. See ya.
Talk to you soon. We got only one unit. Is that who I see in queue? Let's bring him on. How are you, my friend?
Fine and dandy. How you doing?
Doing great. How's golf going? Because I know you're the golf guy.
It's going. Starting to get nice weather up here, but we've got baseball picks. That's what we came here to do. So you guys talking a lot about that Cubs game. My pick today is that over. It's still at 8, I believe. So 8 we will play. We will take -120. So super juiced. We've got the line moving up with a wind blowing in Wrigley game right there. Kind of your ears perk up a little bit, but it's so very obviously because of this pitching matchup that you guys talked about a lot. I like fading guys coming off the IL. Seen
8.5 now.
Yeah, I was afraid of that.
Why? You love that?
No,
for your bet.
I mean, I have it at 8, but
you have the over.
I understand I have the over. So if it's gone up a whole run, yes, the CLV is there, but that shit never hits.
It does.
It doesn't.
Long term, it does. Yes, it does.
I beg to differ. In personal experience, anyways, I beg to differ.
Okay. You want to beat closing lines like you did the first part of your job.
Okay, so can I just green check market and no matter what happens, like it doesn't matter? All right, sick. I'll do that then. I'll recap it right after this pitch.
I'm trying to hype you up. All I'm trying to do is hype you up.
I've been down this road too many times where now we're going to get a 2-0 game. But hypothetically, I really like fading pitchers making their first starts of the year, especially 2 months into it off the IL. We saw it with several even bigger name pitchers. Verlander got roughed up against the freaking Tigers for crying out loud. And from, guys I'm familiar with, Garrett Whitlock, Brian Bayo, their first starts of the seasons, young guys with studs who they've got nasty stuff, just got destroyed in their first startings off IL. And the list goes on and on. There've been way more guys off the IL getting rocked in their first start than guys go out there and throw 4 or 5 really strong innings. So that's part of it. And plus Kyle Hendricks, at this point in his career, we know he's just not the same guy that he was. He used to paint, dot, control's gone away, kind of like Corey Kluber. It just might be tapped out. We haven't seen him this year, so we don't know for sure, but I can guess and estimate that the Mets actually score runs today, believe it or not. That pathetic, putrid offense will finally get some good opportunities to hit. And then on the flip side, all has been said about how poor Carlos Carrasco has been so far this season. I don't really buy either bullpen to be elite or even good. Very just blank, really, no matter where they are. And that Cubs lineup still hits pretty well. They're not as hot as they were in April, but they still can get around with those rookie reinforcements that they called up to kind of jolt in that little 2-week or so cold spell. It's going back up a little bit, trying to finally find that median that we know that they are just probably an average offense. And With these two absolute turkey tossers, I'll take a total at 8.
All right, my friend. I mean, we got you submitted at 7.5. So you're rolling, at least on this pick. My only question to you is, would you take it 8.5 for people who like the pitch?
I mean, I don't know, man. Like I said, every time I beat a number like this, especially by a full run in baseball, it just doesn't even have a heartbeat. So
That's crazy. Like for me, at least, when I'm beating these totals by a full run, it has been money.
well, you're better than I then, because
No, that's not.
when I get this shit,
you
Peter,
get
let me
stuff.
tell you, we're about to see 28-year-old versus 29-year-old Hendricks versus Carrasco up on the mound against two single A ball clubs. All right. So 8.5, me personally, no, probably not. But if you like to play, who am I to stop you? Full unit on this one. And I think the other pick got in time. Did the other pick get in
Yes,
time?
sir. Let's get
All
to
right.
pick number 2.
Yeah, you said don't bet on this game. Well, fuck that. I'm betting on this game. Give me the Brewers on the money line, half a unit. I got plus 110, plus 100, plus money. Sure, I'll still take it. But
Yeah.
I also like the first 5. But the full game, I think you have a really good advantage here with the Brewers because Devin Williams hasn't pitched since Monday, I think. So he's definitely lined up to throw, whether it's a close game with the lead, not with the lead, tie game. I think we see Devin Williams no matter what. So I'll take that to hold the lead, to hold the tie game, whatever it is. And sure, I'll buy a little bit of Julio Teheran stock. I've been a Julio Teheran guy for 10 years now, so why stop now? And the Giants bullpen coming off a pretty bad series. The Brewers bats at home where historically they hit a lot better. Hasn't quite been the case this year. But again, talk about that coming to average. This is the time where you can kind of start to predict some, use your numbers and metrics to kind of predict that type of stuff. So maybe we see a good offensive performance from the Brewers tonight. I think we have a pretty high total in this game too, like 9.5. It's kind of 9. Yeah, that seems a little bit on the high side to me. I think the Brewers score more runs than the Giants here. I just don't really love the Giants bats, although it is good to see Conforto and Yaz kind of having a good series in Minnesota if you're a Giants fan. I like both those guys a lot, especially Yastrzemski for obvious reasons, being a Red Sox fan and all. But why not the over? Because I just said I like the back end of that Brewers bullpen. I don't think the Giants are going to score runs late. If you like the over, I would prefer first 5 over here because I think the Brewers bullpen will shut down the Giants late. Can't say the same for the Giants bullpen shutting down the Brewers late. I don't like the Giants bullpen. Even though Vol has been very shaky at times this year.
When he's rested and he's throwing 103,
yeah,
I think he's the best closer in baseball. And then there's sometimes he's throwing 97 and he looks like he's exhausted. I'm like, holy shit, like you are a completely different guy.
Very similar to Johan Duran. Like that guy probably has the nastiest just stuff in the majors
ever.
At this point,
he throws 100-mile-an-hour splitter. It's the nastiest stuff ever.
He calls it a splinker because it's just not fair to call it a splitter at 102 consistently. But like you said, do you really want to back him the day after he's pitched? Probably not, because he still doesn't have that juice. But he is a guy, when he's healthy, you want to target that back end because he can go 2 innings and give you a 2-inning save without blinking. He was supposed to be a starter. Duran was kind of like Hader. Put him in the back end of the bullpen. Now you have one of the best weapons in the game when he's fully rested. So that back end of the Giants bullpen, just don't trust. Devin Williams, do trust. Give me the Brewers full game.
I like how you said not to bet on this game, but I'm betting on this game. Fuck you. And then you only put a half unit on it. Like it's still sketchy.
Yeah, it's still sketchy. I put a half unit on here because I also put a half unit on the first 5 so I can cover, and just in case what Ollie Brain thinks has happened doesn't happen, they win the first 5, then choke, I still profit in the game. That's kind of my strategy with this game. Probably a smart game to stay away from, but I'll buy did the Milwaukee Brewers fix Julio Teheran after 1 start hype and then sell that stock in 2 weeks after 2 good starts?
You're the man. We got to change your name to Ollie Half Unit.
Yeah, I mean, we're all over the place. Half unit, 3/4 unit, full unit, whatever.
We're just trying to win some coin. And Producer Cohen, can you flash the leaderboard? Because Ollie jokes around and he's like, oh, it didn't move my way. you're in the thick of it, my friend. Like you're
I mean,
down a couple of units.
It's like
You are
the
right
AL
here.
Central, though, Peter. I mean, look at this leaderboard. It's nothing to be proud of at the moment. Respectfully to all my opponents, I guess, if you want to call them. But
No, I agree.
mean,
we've been just donating. I mean,
five
a lot of
guys in
people
the
at
green
bottom,
is not great.
it's not great. I mean, I think when you tally up all the units, what are we down? What are we down, producer Cohen? Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think as a group, we have to stop letting Krabs put multiple units on minus 200 because he's slowly evolving into 2022 Krabs where he just got fed up and started just bombing stuff and lost money. So let's collectively say Krabs. Killing it in April. Let's go back to April Krabs. All
Let's
right.
go back to April Cubs. I tell him all the time. I'm like, use your baseball brain. And he gives me the middle finger.
He can't strictly do it, but he's got to find the plays where the baseball brain, contrarian brain line up, and boom, that's the match made in heaven.
And then he could get on crazy heaters. I've seen it happen.
But more importantly, the mid-major comes in and drops a 3-unit play. You know that shit ain't hitting. That's my boy, but come on. When was the last 3-unit play he hit? And he knows it. He knows it. We talked about it earlier.
Because he keeps putting the 3 units on the Phillies and the White Sox.
That's true. He acknowledges that too. I got to stop betting the White Sox. I got to stop betting the Phillies. And the A's, by the way, don't score runs. I want to take that over tonight so bad. I just don't think I can get behind it. I can't rely on the A's scoring 2 runs.
You can't.
To hit it over 7.5.
But then if you took their team total under, you know that shit ain't hitting either.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you coming on. Always a pleasure.
All right.
Let's hit both these plays.
They're both hitting. They're both hitting.
Not a big. I'll talk to you soon. All right. We got Aram Layton's rival, better known as Mustache Colby, one of the hottest people on stream in the last couple of days. I don't know if you heard Aram, who's kind of talking shit about you. Said gambling is in the bio, but he's ahead of you, and all he wants to do is beat you in the competition. But he did say, I want Colby to win everywhere else, not here. I want to beat him. Your response is?
He's been shitting on the mustache, which makes me want to keep it even more. I don't know if there's like a reverse psychology he's trying to get pull in there. But yeah, give it time, man. I had a disaster run, 2-week run where I just couldn't hit a bet. And here I am, 7-1 in my last 8. And that's since the mustache. I've been surgical. Wow. I've been locked in on only 1, 2, maybe 3 plays a day, but only if I really like it. Like right now, if one thing is off about a play, I'm off of it. Like I don't want it. I really don't.
I love it. We were talking about it too. It's like, yeah, unless you are a model better, right? You have a model and you volume bet based on the model. Gino is a good example of that. I know other people who they have models, they have systems, they'll play eight games if they have, positive ROI systems, and they just play all of them because over time you're going to make money. But if you don't have a model and you're just playing the entire board, like you cannot convince me you have that much of an edge that's worthy of it being actionable. So Colby and I were talking, and it's like, if you're not model betting and you are just straight like 2 to 3 plays a day over time, especially in baseball, there's always the next day and the next day. This is not football where you make your money on a Sunday, right? Then you got to wait Monday and Thursday. This is not the NBA either, where it's 3 to 4 games. This is every single day. There are days where you just take off, right? Play what's actionable, and you're doing a really good job at that because your other cards were like 5 plays, and that was what's getting you in trouble. You limit it, and then you start winning, and then you just pile up the units, and then you look at the end of the year, and you're like, shit, I made all this money. Good for you.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, man. Like, we're not even to June yet, and I've gone from – I was last a week ago, so I'm clawing my way back slowly, but I only have 1 play today. Again, 1 play. So I can get into it if you're ready for it.
Without further ado.
So yeah, obviously Ollie came on before me and spoke about this game. I'm going to be on the Cubs Mets over, but I'm actually doing it from the first 5 perspective because that's where I see the value on this bet. Because I really want to isolate these starting pitchers. You have Carlos Carrasco, who in his last start was averaging below 92 miles an hour. For his career, Carrasco was averaging higher than that, Pete. He was averaging last year 93, before that 94, 95. At 91 to 92 miles an hour, Carrasco is not going to be the same pitcher. This year, he's given up 5 or more earned runs in 3 out of 4 starts. And the one start where he didn't get blown up, Pete, was against the Oakland A's. They can't hit righties. They can't hit any righty. Doesn't matter who it is. They can only hit lefties. So I wonder if the model liked that game, actually. Wonder if the model
Of course it did. Well, it shows value on the A's again because the model is cracked out. And it's basically being like the A's are like the 10th best team in Major League Baseball. This is the way they rate them. And I'm like, I don't know what it sees. I almost like can't trust the model in all A's games ever. I just can't do it. Like when they don't show value, the other team is winning by 40.
Yep. So the other reason I like this is the Cubs are a good right-handed. They see right-handed pitching well. They have a 106 WRC plus against right-handers this year. They're stacking the lineup with lefties today. I don't know if you've seen the lineup, but they have Mike Tauchman hitting 5th today, which is interesting. You would think that would not be a good thing. He's hit well, actually.
I'm a Tauchman guy.
If he's hot, he's hot.
He's good.
I'll ride the hot hand.
Sorta.
All I'm going to say is Matt Mervis is going to have an RBI today. Morel might go deep even with 40-mile-an-hour winds. Who cares? But I do see the Cubs scoring more runs here. I could see Kyle Hendricks kind of like skirting his way to 5 innings, 2 earned. But again, 5 innings, 2 earned. Like I do not think that Kyle Hendricks is going to return from the injured list, his first start of the year, and throw a shutout through 5 innings. Like I think that I grabbed this at 4, but I would play it at 4.5 now. And I like Ollie was talking about how the total had moved to 7.5 to 8.5 for the full game.
Yeah.
If you don't want to play that full run move, I think it's a much better play to play the over 4.5 for the first 5. And just a half run. Like I have to win. I win if they score 5 runs, right? So that's the idea here. But even with the wind blowing in, I think these guys are not home run pitchers anyway. They're just going to get BABIP to hell.
Yeah. This is the game of the night. I mean, I'm over here the only person talking about that White Sox-Tigers game, and everybody's Mets-Cubs. We even got Brewers-Giants. I'm alone on an island. I just have it under while everyone's having action on Mets-Cubs. It almost makes me want to, but it's like, shit, you got a guy returning from injury, and you got Carlos Carrasco who's basically pitching like he's injured right now.
Yeah. And so, that's the play for me. The other game that I had looked at, and I'll just talk about it briefly, Pete, is this Phillies-Braves game. I don't know how much we've talked about that game so far on stream.
Yeah. Aram is on Phillies first 5. That's the only pick that we have in that game so far.
It's a very interesting game because you have Dylan Dodd, who has been blown up at every level this year, whether it's at AAA or the major leagues, like an ERA over 6, a FIP over 6. Doesn't matter. He's been getting hit hard. But the Phillies have an 84 WRC plus against lefties. So I'm a little concerned. I just didn't touch this game because I do not know if the Phillies will even be able to touch Dylan Dodd. And on the same, but to the Phillies' credit, Aaron Nola has a 300 plate appearance sample of pitching well against every single Brave except Ronald Acuna and Austin Riley. And Austin Riley has been struggling a ton this year. A 47% ground ball rate is not like him. So like, if anything, I like the under here, like a sneaky under.
That's what I was saying.
I'm staying away from it.
Yeah, I was like, if I had to make one pick in this game, it'd be under 9.5. But that's what you got, Colby. Appreciate you coming on. Mustache Colby versus Miami Aram. Let's see who wins.
Yeah, I'll say to tease tomorrow night's stream, I'm definitely going to have a few plays tomorrow night. There are a lot of good games, and it's going to be a big Friday night, so definitely tune in tomorrow night, everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you, my friend. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Thank you very much. Good luck, bud.
Good luck. Okay. Yeah. So should we not bring on Tomas yet?
Tomas can make it 6 minutes.
Yeah. Tomas. Wait.
He's only on 1 game.
Let's bring Tomas on. And before we bring Tomas on, he's about to deliver a lot of units on a side.
Yeah. I went clean shaven. I shaved yesterday or this morning actually before I did anything because I said, well, I was growing out the beard and I kept losing. So I said, you know what? Let's switch up the vibes. I shaved. I'm ready to rock. And it's all about the Cubbies today, Peter. It's all about the Cubbies.
Wow. Talk to me.
All right. Well, first, let's get to the over because I have the over 7.5. I got this right when it opened. But everything, this is just a little, let me throw a stat for you here, Peter. So the line, when they switched it to Hendricks, who was coming in to start, because originally it was supposed to be Tyon, the line was at 8. Over-unders where the line starts at 8 and goes down to 7.5 and then goes back up this year is 36-15, the over. It's 36-15. I found this out like 2 days ago, and I said, wow, where was this stat? So I'm on the over 7.5. I don't care about the win factor. I know Kobe was just on talking about how bad Carlos Carrasco is, and that's another reason why I'm playing with the Cubs today. But I also see the same thing. I don't think Kyle Hendricks is going to go out and go 5 innings, no runs, but I think he gives up a run or two. I think that first inning is really going to tell the tape what this game goes. But I like this over 7.5. I mean, the Cubs might score. They don't have to hit home runs off of Carlos Carrasco. Same with Kyle Hendricks. I mean, this is a team that is hitting the ball really well. They've won the last 2 games against the Mets. Why not just put them in the coffin and go with the sweep? Hendricks back on the bump. I like the over. I see some runs being scored, no doubt.
Okay, but that's not even
No.
like what? How many plays you got in this game?
3.
3. Let's get into play number 2 on this specific game.
Yeah, we're gonna take. I'll go the 1 unit play here. I'm taking the Cubs team total over 3.5. This is a no-brainer. It's the same reason why I'm playing the Cubs through the first 5, because they're going to score at least. So I think they're going to score at least 3 runs off of Carlos Carrasco. He's hurt. I think he's hurt.
I think he's hurt.
His velocity is not there. The Mets have no one else. They literally were like, you know what? He's half healthy, but might as well just throw him out there. He's a starter 2 away from getting DFA'd. I don't know what he's still doing in the big leagues, truthfully. I thought after his last start against Cleveland, when we hit our max play against him, I thought that was it for him. I really did. And then I look up and said, you're telling me Carlos Carrasco is going to pitch on the road against Chicago where the Mets are looking for a win? No, it's not a great spot for them. The Cubs have hit the ball very well lately. Give me their team total over 3.5. Even if they score 2 runs, you're telling me through this Mets bullpen ain't going to give up a couple. 3.5 seems a little bit too low for me. Give me the over.
I mean, what am I going to say?
I'm winning today. I'm winning today. I no stops. I found my plays. I mean, I'm right now sweating a Rockies game because I have them full game. It's 2-2, bottom of the 8th inning. I already cashed with the Rays money line earlier today. I know you had the Rays first 5. Feeling really good about that. And for the 2-unit banger, Cubs first 5 money line. No doubt.
Wow.
Yeah. Give it to me. Give it to me. I'm not going to play the full game because I'm not. I'm fading Carlos Carrasco and him specifically. The same thought process I had last week when he started. I don't want to deal with the bullpens. I don't want to deal with any mistakes past the first 5. Give me the Cubs in the beginning. I think Hendricks, like I said, probably gives up a run or 2, but I have no doubt that the Cubs put up a crooked number against Carrasco. Give me them through the first 5. I'm liking it.
Wow.
I see the comment section right now. This is ASIM0414. I'm seeing the 3-0 or 0-3 play here.
No, literally. I mean, but like it's
yeah.
it's all correlated. Like you're either going to make a bunch of units on stream or things could go horribly wrong.
Yeah,
and it's a meat
really
on
bad.
table play. Let me just see on Prize Picks. Does
Oh,
Carrasco
no.
have any? Of course, all he has is 4.5 Ks. Which
So
is
I will
interesting
say-
that he's listed there because he hasn't gotten that in his past 5 starts.
No, I don't understand why
No.
he's at 4.5 strikeouts at all. And I'm surprised that that's the only stat that they have up for him. I don't know. But, I mean, this is just me. It's probably super square, but I would take the under 4.5 strikeouts. I don't care how much wind is blowing in at Wrigley Field. The guy throws the ball over the plate, and he can't throw his off-speed stuff for a strike. He gets behind the counts, and all he has is a fastball where opponents are batting like over 3. I think it was like over 380 again. It's something ridiculous. He's not good. He's not good. He doesn't deserve to be in the bigs anymore. He's washed up. Give me the Cubbies.
I love it, my man. Great stuff. Meat on table. It's all Cubs. It's all fading Carlos Carrasco. Appreciate you coming on, my man. Why not us?
Why not us? It's going to happen today. We're going to win some money today. I believe it.
Good stuff. I'll talk to you soon, all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, before Gino's in the queue, right? Did you just get a text message from me, producer code? Because Richie Parlay, who's a sub of this Twitch stream, just tweeted at me a hilarious meme where it's like throw it up there after. Well, we'll come on Gino first, then we'll put up that meme from Richie. I just made me geek. Gino for Bet Openly. Go to muted. Goats are muted. I love talking to Gino because not only does he give well-informed plays, but he teaches us about betting. Goats are still muted, by the way.
My man, I'm trying.
Let's get into the plays because Gino likes what he likes to do is he sends his full card to the squad. He's just like, pick whatever you want for the stream. So yeah, why don't before you get into baseball plays, talk to us about the NBA game today.
So I got to talk to you guys. This is just absurd. The true line on that game is 7, right? So the books, I want you guys to listen to this because I want you to think how I think. The books open it up at 8. Why? They're baiting people to Miami. So it sucks, right? You don't want to be baited. You never want to go where the books are steering you. So they open it up at 8. More public plays are on Miami. More money comes in on the Celtics. Goes up to 8.5 for a half a second, comes back down to 8. So you're like, wait, they baited us to Miami. They got what they wanted from us. And then they get scared. So it makes no sense. I honestly think, I don't bet this laser thin, but I think this game ends. Boston wins by 7. I mean that. They win by fucking 7. And just nothing makes sense about what they're doing. They purposely baited us to Miami. They got that. They could, if they were that confident in Boston, they could have left it at 8, 8.5. That was technically RLM, reverse line movement. And instead, the second it went to 8.5, heavy money poured in on that 8.5, and they got scared and went back to 8. So if I had to guess, they genuinely believe Boston wins by under 8, and they're just finagling how many people they can get on Boston more than that or Miami less than that. It's my assessment. Because the money was clear. The tickets were public on Miami, and the sharps were heavy on Boston, but they didn't drop it. And then the sharp money didn't keep flowing in. So they call it like fake sharp. They call it whatever. It feels like the books are having a good time, and they're going to get people to play between 7.5 and 8.5, and they're going to maximize the money they make on juice.
Fascinating stuff, my friend. Let's
I
get
got
into
one play on the game. Do you want my only play? I only have one bet on the game.
Yeah, obviously it's not counted on stream, but yeah,
it's okay. We'll just make it quick. Under 55 first quarter. Miami and Boston. Everyone thinks Miami took the lid off of the basket. Excuse me. They think Boston took the lid off the basket. They think Boston's going to want to run with Miami. Not going to be the case. Boston beat Miami second half with defense. They frustrated them. The turnovers were immense. Boston's plan to come out is going to be similar to the second half, and their shots aren't going to fall that much. So under 55 first quarter, it's just a solid play. You're going to see a nice little 27, 25, 28, 24 first quarter. You win by 1 to 2 points, which seems like really tight, but 2 points in a first quarter is 8 points in a game.
Let's get into the baseball talk.
This is
the Just Baseball show. Or no, that's whatever. This is Just Baseball. Let's get into MLB plays. Producer Cohen, can you throw the first game up? We're taking the Tigers at 0.5 units with Alex Faedo. Talk to me.
Absolutely. So let me pull up the exact distribution. So I'm a boring fade the public guy. That's why the shirt says fade the public. I believe you can't just fade the public blindly. You won't make money, but you can when the books are comfortable being exposed, when the public's heavy on that side. Where is this game? They're playing the White Sox, right?
Yep.
Awesome. So perfect example here. 53% of the money came in on White Sox, both -1.5 and the game. So you have more of the public money coming in, public tickets on the White Sox. Line locks in, barely goes up, and I'm able to get +130. I think I locked it in at a game that I just believe the opening line of +120 was completely fair. So I'm just looking at it as 8% ROI, 8 points of value. So I like the Tigers money line here. And I think actually I said it wrong. I think I gave it out at +138. 130 was the true line that I had in my head.
Good stuff, my man. Just 0.5 units because, right, you up your units based on the ROI or what you think
I'm crazy
will come from the game. And does he get you got a question in the chat. Does he bet from any baseball reasoning or do you just bet lines?
Yeah, good question. So my picks come from lines and odds, and then I'd secondary guess those with matchups. So like if I see the team's hot against a lefty, so If I had to answer your question, I start my day with pure math, eliminating games, and then I move my unit size past the math based on, lefties versus righties, how long they've been on the road, home versus away, first 5 bullpen, stuff like that. So I would say I'm boring to start, and then I get cute with tribal knowledge second.
So like in this game in particular, both teams in their worst split, you got a better pitcher, and I put that in quotes because the ERAs are actually very similar.
Yep.
And that's why you like the Tigers, because you think the pitching matchup, at least by xERA, is even, and you
Similar
have the home
pitching
team
matchup.
as a dog.
Similar pitching match. Yeah, thank you. That's a really good question, Pete. You're making it easy. So first I start with the math, and I think plus 130 is fair, so I'm getting 8% of value. Now it's on my radar. Then I can look at the pitchers and I say, hey, these guys are, and I put them, they're a wash. Tomato, don't really care. Then I see I'm getting value on one, and last but not least, the line moved in my favor. And then lastly, the most important piece of the puzzle, I'm getting a home team with all of these stacking up. And like I'm a San Francisco Giants fan, and we just clawed tooth and nail to get back to 500. And there's just certain psychological aspects where I know baseball is probably the most analytical sport. There's also psychological aspects. I will be watching my Giants very closely, even though they're not on my card, just because I believe once you get over that 500 hump, that is something that books and math just don't take into consideration. At least I have never seen it taken into consideration. So I hope that long ass answer helps someone curious to see how I start my day versus how I end it.
And let's get into more plays because you got more on the card. You got one more play, right?
Yep.
Philly, Atlanta over 9.5. Interesting. I kind of lean the under. I didn't play it, but it was like a gun to your head. What would you take? I would take the under. Interesting to see you on the over.
Yeah. So let me explain this one. So what happened here? This line actually opened at 9. So this is kind of the inverse of what I just talked about. My last play is all value. This play is all line movement. A little bit more money came in on the over. Not a lot. Not even enough that I thought was enough to move the line. But the books moved the line. So that to me said they have their triggers set up and the people they watch are better at me than capping. So it's really hard because I don't do full write-ups. It takes too much time. But this play is almost the opposite of my last play. My last play was 8% of value in a very circumstantial situation. This play is, I don't believe this line should have moved. I thought it should have stayed right at 9. I saw a little bit more money, but not enough to tip any scales. And then I saw steam. I saw the books unanimously move it at 9.5. And I say, they're better than me and they know what they're doing. That's not enough money. I'm seeing more money on 10 different plays and they're not doing shit. Excuse my language. But they did it here. So they know something I don't know, and I'm getting in bed with them because they're going to drive people to the under.
Okay. And good thing I didn't place that lean. Yeah, we'll see. I guess my only question for you, because these are your two plays, lines have moved in your direction in terms of just the current odds where they sit at today. And I know you're very particular with how you bet. So, for example, on BetMGM, Tigers are plus 125. The over is at 9.5 at plus 100. If people want to tail, they like your reasoning. Do you still see any value at those numbers?
The over, yes. The true line I have for Tigers is 130. Okay. So you would be donating 5% macro. Now the Tigers might win today and you're like, damn, I should have bet it. But I wouldn't, because I would just zoom out. If I do this for the next 10 years, the books will steal 5% from me.
Good stuff.
That's just how I see it. And I also see it as there's so many games. That's why I love baseball. I make way worse bets in football because I'm desperate for action on Sunday and Monday night.
Yep.
Baseball, I have such a large slate that why would I give away 5%? I just move on. It's like,
I couldn't agree with you
next
more.
girl in the bar. Next girl. There's a bunch of 7s.
Couldn't agree with you more. That's what I was talking about. Like, you are particular with the way you bet. You have a model and you volume bet. And it's like, I see value and I have to play it. It's a math game. I'm going to win long term. I don't understand people who don't have a model, especially in baseball. Other sports, throw everything out the window. In baseball, if you don't have a model and your card is so big every day, there's not as many edges as people are putting on. Like, maybe you just like a play and I get it, but I just feel long term that's not a profitable formula for making money over a 162 game schedule. Then you include the playoffs. Like, I just feel that's a losing long term way
Agreed.
of betting baseball. Do you agree, or how do
Completely
you?
agreed, and I'll be super transparent. I gave up my biggest play of the day is probably going to lose. I had Miami. Now, do I like? And again, my biggest play of the day is 1.5 units. So don't get too hung up on it. I'm not going to lose a wink of sleep. But I had on Miami up 2-1 going into the 7th, I think it was, or going into the 6th. I forget which one they were up 2-1. And I looked at the live line, and they were minus 180. So I don't hedge like that, but I have my minus 112 Miami in. I have a minus 180. Even though I'm probably going to lose this bet without some top of the 9th miracle, I still feel like I did my job.
Yeah.
I got my minus 110 bet up to minus 180 in lives. I found value. And if it loses, which I think it will, unless the top of the 9th they put up 2 and Miami doesn't score like that, that's just transparently. I win and I lose. I think I was 4-4 yesterday, but finding value, I made 0.8 units. Now, that's not exciting to people. So a lot of people that are like in my groups and stuff, I'll say, hey, I'm not going to change how I bet, but if you want to 2 or 3x every one of my units and gamble, that's on you. But I'm just trying to make a unit a day.
I couldn't agree with you more. That's where we align on a lot of stuff. Like, I'm not a flashy bettor. I even tweeted out, I am one of the most boring people to follow on Twitter. I put out a couple of plays. I bet on value when I see it, and it has to cross a lot of different things for me. It has to match up on my model. It has to match up in the baseball reasoning. I have to be able to write up a full play for me to make sense and gamble on it. If I lose, I lose. I'm going to lose. Like, I think historically between the MLB and the NFL, I've lost 43% of my plays. I am so happy with that. If I could do that forever, I'll be sitting pretty.
And call me crazy with your shows, your following. I'd say you're doing it right, brother. So I don't think you should change for anyone.
I ain't changing shit.
Now, I have a question. What
you hit the
props are
Nerfy in the
allowed?
Miami
Because-
game. You hit the Nerfy in the Miami game, didn't you?
Did I get money on that?
Sick freak. No, not for the stream, but for you.
I gave it out at plus 145, right? So I don't like. So I like. It's weird. I like talking about my losses after the fact, not my wins, because I feel like if I talk about my wins after, they're like, sure. But I talk about my losses after the fact. But yeah, I gave out in our group plus 145, Nerfy, Miami, Colorado. And I said, if you don't have the balls for that, bet the under in that game. So I think I'm looking good, barring nothing crazy. This baseball extra innings has burned me more times than it's helped me. Now, Pete, to feed people before I leave.
Yep.
What props are still alive? Because I got a list of props right here that I can give out. They weren't on the card, but I don't want to do like, do you guys do first home run? Do you do yes home run? Do you do?
You can just give them out. They won't be tracked again on stream, but you can just give them out for people who want to listen for sure.
Cool. Has Luke started? Has Tampa Bay started yet?
Yeah, Tampa Bay Blue Jays already ended.
Okay, cool. Josh Lowe, that's another one. Rayleigh, that's all Tampa Bay. I'm just trying to find more. Detroit, that's one that I don't like. Has Toronto started yet?
Yeah, Toronto versus.
God, that's Tampa Bay again. Jesus, was I on that game super heavy? I think I was. Damn. Okay. I don't want to give out anything inaccurate. I'm trying to think which games. Like, it's hard. The way
You're good, my friend.
I line it up ABC order, so I don't have it by teams.
You're good, my man. Appreciate you coming on, though. Love the way, and even people in chat are like absorbing this, right? We just get better every day. We learn more about the sport of gambling in a way. So appreciate you, my friend. Again, anything else? Like, feel free to say anything.
I'll be here twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Follow me on Twitter. I idolize the homie Pete. He does it right. You'll see me fanboying his posts and posting and sharing and all that. So we'll go from there.
You're my guy. Really appreciate you, Gino, and we'll talk soon. All right.
Later, brother.
Later. All right. We got is that mid-major Matt I see in queue? All right. Well, KB's not here, so let's get to mid-major. Wow, outside tank. Can you talk about the White Sox and Phillies?
I mean, so Peter, I have
because I loved your tweet. You learned, and I thought it was one of the great tweets. Just talk.
Oh, I'm gonna say Ollie fucking referenced it. Ollie has a big head of hair, very smart brain. I have made multiple 3-unit plays this year on stream. I don't think any of them, outside of the Twins, have been on a team above 500. That doesn't make sense. So it's just,
doesn't make sense.
it's these stupid lines that are catching my eye, and Vegas is just baiting me. I mean, I have solely funded the new casino strip going up, the hotel on the strip. So, trying to be better, trying to learn.
Can
I
we
started
flash
off
the
well this
leaderboard
year.
though? Can we flash out the leaderboard? Because it's not like, I mean, what are you? You're down 2 units. I mean, you were having a great start. It's going to go up and down. I have confidence you're going to end in the green.
Agreed. But I mean, 2 weeks ago, I was probably plus 8 units. So I'm down 10 units on stream. So of late, I have just been unreasonably making stupid bets. Trying to learn.
Today. Let's make it back today.
We're trying to. That's why I'm laying off the Phillies. It seems too easy for the total team over, which is what was my original play. I thought them coming off a comeback victory against Arizona could really spark them. The more I look at it, it seems as if the really public narrative is just to fade Dylan Dodd. His stats suck. His expected stats suck. I understand. Phillies suck against lefties. I just stayed off of that game. The one play I did find myself on, and I was debating between the full game and the total team under, is the Yankees total team under 4.5. Good timing, producer Cohen. That's why he's my favorite producer that I know. No mustache, but he's still a very handsome man.
Very handsome man.
Man, you're Yankees, brother.
They suck. No,
Did
they're
you see the
actually
lineup? Have you seen their lineup today?
No. What is it?
Let's go through it. We can go one by one through the OPS against right-handed pitchers if you like. It's rough, brother. Oh yeah, you looked at it. Just initially, it's awful. Oh yeah.
Labor, I like. Judge obviously is a train engine. Rizzo's phenomenal. Bader's phenomenal. Then it just
dude.
Calhoun. I mean, Volpe is still good. Cabrera sucks. Rortvedt. Allen. Yeah, you're gonna hit.
Hey, but Allen, he has a 4,000 OPS so far this year. So
yeah, he has one at bat, right? What is? I mean, what is
it's one fucking at bat.
Yeah, he's 1 for 1. Yeah, good for you.
But if there was after the first 2 games in the series, the Yankees easily go over 4.5 runs, and now against the worst starting pitcher in the series and Kyle Gibson in per ERA stats, and it's now juiced to the under at 4.5. That really catches my eye. And I really think this is the day. And if you look at Ballpark Pal, the wonderful tool and the wonderful model, it's one of the worst expected hitting arenas that you can go into. Environments. Thank you. And against Kyle Gibson, who's not a big fly ball pitcher, he's a big ground ball pitcher. I do think that these not good bats that the Yankees putting out today do not do much. We saw, if you look at the splits on some betting sites, you see all the money hammering the over, and yet the line is dropped to 8.5 on BetMGM. Plus money, but still it's dropped. You'll see almost 80% of handle and bets on the over, though. And for that to drop with the 2 expected worst starters per ERA, to drop to 8.5, it tells me that both pitchers do pretty well. I do like the full game under. My concern, as everyone has referenced, Clark just cannot get left-handed guys out. He just can't. And
Adam Frazier's hitting leadoff. Like he's leading off with a double.
Yeah, exactly. That's already happened. It paid out on the BetMGM for me. Yeah. His total bases. But I stuck with the Yankees. I wanted to isolate it because I do think Kyle Gibson probably gives us a quality start at worst. And then the Orioles bullpen, you still have Bachman, who hasn't pitched so far in this series. And if you tell me Cano comes in this game, I would hammer the fuck out of this, play even more. Yennier Cano is disgusting.
Crazy.
Disgusting. You still have Bachman. You still have Cano available. You still have maybe Bautista because that large human being just does whatever he wants and his body does not act normal.
I'll tell you who I like in the Orioles bullpen that's still available. So in game 1, they went Givens, who is not good. Cano went 30 pitches. You might not see him. And Buda Baker, or Brian Baker, Buda Baker. I got my NFL hat on. I was actually looking at week 1 lines. Brian Baker, he should be available, and he's good.
I like Baker. I like Colomb.
Yeah, Colom's good.
Well, pitched yesterday.
Salmon should be. Yeah, I mean, you're probably just not going to see Bautista. That's probably it.
I mean, but he's 6'6" and then 270, just a man. So who knows what they want to do with him. But I think after the first 2 games soared over the over, and this is the one game where everyone's betting the over and the BetMGM has the line moving 8.5. I think both pitchers do much better than people think they do. And I'm going to isolate the Yankees whole team under. Because if the Yankees are winning, we don't need 27 outs. We only need 24.
What else you got? Is that your only play? Oh no, that's your only play.
That's it
Look
for
at-
today. You know,
Look at this,
I'm
mid-major.
I'm growing up. You know, I'm 33 years old and I'm growing up. But
I'm proud of you.
after the last 2 weeks, it's been rough for me personally betting wise. So I'm just trying to take it low, trying to learn, and trying to see what lessons I'm adjusting or applying if they work for me. So
Before you go, give us those 3 lessons that you've learned.
do I have to, Peter?
Yes, because it's hilarious and it's true as shit too.
Okay, I remember 2 of them. I don't remember the last one I put. Fuck, dude, this is embarrassing.
It's not embarrassing.
Okay.
We're learning. It's
Yeah.
May.
So stop fucking fading Bryce Elder. I mean, that guy just fucking does. He doesn't care what
He doesn't
baseball reference tells me, what Fangraphs tells me. He is just sticking his dick wherever he wants, and everyone's
Yep.
accepting it.
Mhm.
He's just taking it, and I'm taking it. I've taken it so far. I don't want it anymore. I'm gonna stop facing Bryce Elder.
It's too much Bryce Elder dick. Too much.
Stop, stop fading the goddamn Orioles.
Yep.
Just stop it.
Stop.
We've been saying it since last year. I have refused to learn my lesson. They're just too goddamn good. They have the best record. They're leading, or not obviously not leading, but they're second place in the AL East. It's a good goddamn conference division, and they're second. It tells
Just
you
stop
something.
fading the Orioles. I mean, they're one of the best teams in baseball.
Stop fading the Birds.
I think you said something about the A's. I think like the A's
I did.
team total, no matter what, will never hit.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, dude. Yeah, they hit 20 nukes in the first 20 games, and all of a sudden, I think they're sharp. They fucking suck, Peter. They fucking suck. I
Look
took
at
their
their
total team
record.
over yesterday
Does
in
anyone
Seattle.
ever just go look at the standings, go look at the run differential, and just be like, just the most
Dude.
basic shit. Look how many games they've won this year. That's why, like,
Yeah.
I've been on the Royals a couple times. I think I'm 0-2, and like I'm done. Like, the Royals are closer to the A's than they are the Tigers. Like the Royals are in that same boat where it's like they're the second worst team in Major League Baseball. It doesn't matter if they're sharp. Like if they're plus 120, they should never be plus 120 in any matchup ever.
Yeah, it's a lot of smart people call it catching the falling knife. That knife falls every goddamn day, and
Yeah.
I'm just not going to try to catch the one time it's not going to slice my hand off.
There's so many other teams and so many other matchups. Like
Yeah.
you work a good job. You bring home a paycheck and you put it on the Royals. Damn.
I also put on the White Sox and the Phillies. That's not as bad, but it's still pretty bad.
I know.
Yeah,
I have an
just
under
lessons-
today. I have an under today in White Sox. Like, they're going to somehow sell that. I still like it, but they're going to figure out. I mean,
Yeah,
put
they'll
it-
score 7.
we put it on the Royals tomorrow. No, we are not. Mid-major, always a pleasure. Thank you, my friend,
Yeah,
for
brother.
coming on. All right.
All
Go
right,
kill
thanks,
it.
guys.
Get your money. Talk to you soon.
Hey, this is just a baseball show. So whatever previous nonsense that guy was talking about before, I didn't even understand it. Just
Gino
kidding.
knows what the hell he's talking about. We
Yeah,
gotta
he's
sometimes
fucking
unpack
smart.
that
Listen
brain.
to Gino. Thanks,
Really
guys.
smart dude. I'll talk to you soon. All right. Call the number if you're betting the Rays. I haven't acknowledged the raid from Land Juice. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I see some first-time chatters. Thank you guys for coming in. Hopefully you've been enjoying the show so far. Wid wager wat. I totally agree. Call the number if you're betting on the Royals. It's the most true thing that's anyone's ever done. Peter, what do you think of Tigers plus 1.5? I mean, I'm on the under. I like the under a little bit better. What? Oh, yeah, let's show the meme. This comes from Richie Parlay. I just think this is hilarious. Just the model is just staring at Ken Waldachuk and the frickin' A's and just being like, yeah, we always see value on them and they never win. It's a great meme. It's a great meme. Richie Parlay. Shout out Richie Parlay. Is Orioles team total a dono? Oh, he's not even asking me. He's asking Javon. Well, I don't know what Javon's doing. He's just hanging out in chat, not coming on and giving picks. And KB's supposed to be on right now. Where the hell is he? So what? We got KB and Javon, and then the show's over? KV, Javon, and Jake. Yeah, let's go to Jake. I can come on now, though. I was supposed to be on after KB. Yeah, I mean, unless you're whatever, just fucking come in the queue. Yeah, we got Jake Hazen, who's number 2 on the leaderboard, and Javon, who's number 4, but he's like 0.01 units away. Jake's outside. We got outside Jake. Twitch, he is not driving. Jake, you are stationary, correct?
Indeed, we are.
Stationary, Jake Hazen, number 2 in the rankings. Bearded Jake. Sunglasses Jake, outside Jake, card Jake. Let's hear a winner. We got one
And
today.
corporate, Jake, you forgot that part as well.
Forgot corporate was going to add that. What do you got for us today?
We're just, I don't know, I'm feeling frisky on this Thursday. So I won't really be able to go quite as in depth as I usually do because I usually have my computer pulled up with all these long lists of stats. But today I'm just kind of going off what I kind of remember. I have a Price Picks 2-teamer today. We're going Clark Schmidt over 16 first inning pitches, and we're going Dylan Dodd over 4Ks. You knew some sort of Clark Schmidt fade was coming today. But
why the pitches in the first inning?
Dude, because Adley might have a 10-pitch at bat.
That's a good point.
It's just what he does.
People in chat are saying, why can't you fit in your own car? Bro's head is begging for room.
What do you mean, bro? I got like that's a large amount of room. Like I could fit a lot of things in between here. Like that this is a lot of room, chat. Like,
I want you
even more room.
All right, Clark Schmidt over 16 pitches. That shit ain't hit. Why is Dylan Dodd over 4Ks hitting?
Okay, hold on. Pump the brakes. Okay, so no Cedric Mullins in that lineup does hurt. I'd rather have that, but 3 out of the 4 first guys today are lefties, and they're not really too much of free swingers. They don't strike out, and they have a very, very high walk rate, these Orioles have, especially the front half. And Adley Rutschman, if you ever watch that guy's at-bats, they're literally like they're such every single at-bat is so freaking competitive, and he does not swing at strikes. He's a very similar approach to Juan Soto. So his at-bats are pretty long. And if you don't know, Clark Schmidt has a 1,100 OPS versus left-handed batters today. And 3 of the first 4 batters are lefties. He has a walk issue. All these guys draw walks. I expect this team to get after Clark Schmidt early, and he might have 70 pitches in the first inning.
All right, Dylan Dodd case. Why?
Dude, I went really deep into this one, and I really couldn't remember exactly why. But one thing I do remember is that, Dylan Dodd, if you look at his baseball savant, this guy actually reeks. He's not good at baseball, but he's still young. He can be good. Don't know much about him as a prospect, but for what I'm seeing right now, definitely some better pitchers in the MLB than Dylan Dodd. But these Phillies in the month of May, correct me if I'm wrong, because I can be, but I know it's really bad. They have like a 58 WRC plus against lefties.
Oh, I thought it was worse. I thought it was like 48. Let me check for you.
And I think it's like a 30% K rate as well.
It's bad. I'm not going to check. I know it's bad.
Okay, and that lineup is swing and miss all throughout it. And all I'm asking is for 5Ks, 4Ks. I think I'm going to take it. His slider it gets pretty ballooned, but it's not quite as bad against lefties. But like I said, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he's serving like a 38% whiff rate on that slider. I mean, I'm not asking for this guy to masterclass today. I'm just asking for Edmundo Sosa to strike out 3 times because that's going to happen.
I mean, you're second on the leaderboard for a reason. You know ball. And I think this is a good play. Like, as you can see, Jake's right next to me, right? 8 units. I'm at 11, whatever. You know your ball. The God. 1 unit to win, 2 unit play. Corp Jake for the win on Prize Picks.
Yeah, and we're doing.
I mean, it makes sense.
We're being extra corp today.
It makes sense. It really does.
Yeah,
what am I gonna say?
I'm telling you, Adley Rutschman might hit that line by himself in one at bat.
Can you imagine if like you get Adam Frazier ground out on 1 pitch, and then you get Adley as a 15 pitch at bat, and then the next guy's out on 1 pitch, and you get 17. You're just like,
dude, Adley's so capable of doing that, though. Dude, I love watching him play. Man.
He's an amazing player.
He's absolutely the best catcher in the MLB, player. Right? He's best. I mean, like he's a way better catcher than Will Smith, but not time to argue like who's the better hitter.
I don't know if he's way. Yeah, he is way better.
He's way better.
I think he's just
catcher.
better. Will Smith has improved year over year on defense. I really like it. I think they're in like tier 1 together, and like you can make the argument for both.
I gotta give it to Adley just because, dude. How can you be already this freaking polished?
He's amazing.
Like,
but then again, he is 25. He's older than Juan Soto.
I keep forgetting that, dude.
Yeah.
He's also
25.
older. There's a lot of people.
He's the same age as Jordan.
Yeah, I say Juan Soto, Jordan Alvarez is always such a reality check for so many players. It's actually hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 25 years old. Like Jordan is like looks like he's 30 years older than me. Appreciate you, my man. I'm gonna let you get back to it. Again, thanks for the Prize Picks entry. We'll talk to you soon. All right,
my man. Adios.
All right, let's bring on the milkman. The king of Jose Siri isn't in the lineup. GG's for the ultimate Alec Manoah fader. I'm giving you shit for one reason and one reason only. If this was any other pitcher for the Blue Jays, I would get it. You play your matchups and you're very smart. That's why I texted you in particular. But the fact that Jose Siri wasn't, I know it's about Yandy Diaz. I know that's what you're about to correct, but it's Alec Manoah. What are we doing here? Let's not overthink
It wasn't just those two either. It was Bethancourt too. I hate
Who
Mejia.
gives a shit?
I do, because Bethancourt, sneakily, if we're talking about Manoah allowing soft contact, which he's not so much this year, but Bethancourt is one of those guys that's going to turn that soft contact hard. Really,
that's
quick.
A good point.
So Mejia sucks. That's the other part of it. So
also, you had a Soler prop that unfortunately couldn't make it on stream because it was before the game started. But bang!
I didn't have a Soler prop.
You didn't?
Not in the contest. No, I had Grichuk.
Oh, maybe people in the comments thought you had Soler or something. Did you talk about it earlier?
Well, yeah, we took it because we talked about it on BTL because we were also talking about the Rockies, which I mixed up the time with that game, I think with the Brewers game, but that was going to be part of this. But on the Rockies, and we were talking about it, we're like, yeah, Soler's going to hit a nuke. We just got to hope the Rockies outscore it. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I don't know.
Good stuff. I mean, how well can you handicap a game? You took a home run hitter on the opposite side. He hit the home run. And what is the Rockies game right now?
6-4.
6-4, top 9. Pierce Johnson, 2 more outs.
Yeah, there we go. Let's get 2 more. But I'm with you today on my pick here. We can start getting to that.
Yeah, let's get into
it. Tigers, White Sox under 8.5. Still would take 8.
Hell yeah.
But if you do have the option to buy it at a juicier price, like you were talking about at 8.5, because that 8 is a very key number, I would go for that. So I'm not just going to repeat everything you said, but looking at Faedo, I'm not as big a fan as you seem to be, watching film, but some of his underlying metrics are surprisingly good. I will say that. And the key thing here, because you talk about like his one issue being, or his biggest issue at the very least, being the home run ball. He allows a lot of barrels, or at least has so far to this point in this season. So I went through all of his home runs, because there's been 5 this season. And there's one kind of big difference here with all of these guys, all 5 of them. They're all really good fastball hitters. And you go through the White Sox lineup today, you have one elite fastball hitter so far this season in Luis Robert, but everybody else, terrible. So I looked at all these individually to kind of see how they played out.
And all Robert's going to see all day is sliders blown away. He ain't throwing a fastball.
I was going to get to that. So I mean, there's a clear game plan. So with all of these guys, like Nationals game, he gave up 1 to Jimer, who has, he's hitting 5 run value, 370 off the fastball this year. He attacked him with a lot of changeups, which I'll be real, his changeup sucks. So he's giving him steady doses of that. That's a recipe for disaster. In the Mariners game, he gave up 2. One of those to Kelenic, 6 run value, 386. Just piped a fastball down the middle. That's not going to play. And then you had in the other game, Teoscar, or the other side of that game, Teoscar. He's slugging 727, 65% hard hit rate. What did he do? He gave him a lot of sliders, and he hung one right over the middle of the plate. So that's not going to happen. Then you had Goldie hit 2 against him, which were the other 2. Again, he pounded him with a lot of sliders initially, hung it in the first inning. Then he came back, piped a bunch of fastballs, hung them over the plate first inning. So like these are all specific type like guys that profile not well for him to attack. And other than Luis Robert, like the one difference with him, like you're saying, he can game plan differently and give him those sliders because he's hitting 160 and expected numbers are worse against the slider. A lot of these guys are frankly good at every other pitch he's going to hit them, especially when it's a changeup and that pitch sucks. So I really like his matchup today against a lot of these guys because there is like a true one-pronged approach to a lot of these guys. So like there's the flip side of it as well. You have guys like Gavin Sheets, Andrew Vaughn, a lot of those guys who are really good against the slider, but not as good fastball hitters. So he has a very clear approach, which is when he's had these type of approaches, that's when he's been successful. So I think he's going to nibble around the corners, get a lot of soft contact. I think it's a really good matchup for him. So that's really the side of the matchup that I heavily predicated the under on. But I do like Giolito too. I mean, it goes without saying Tigers are pitiful against right-handed pitching. He's made some adjustments this year. He looks like a new Giolito. The walk rate is lower than it's ever been in his career. So I think he's going to make the Tigers hit, and that's really not a good recipe for them, especially, like I said, against right-handed pitching. So I like this under even with the move down. Glad we're seeing it, though. I think we get a really slow game out here to the start.
I'm going to text you after with why Giolito's improving, and I don't want to make that public.
Okay. Well, I sent you something too, completely unrelated, but looks like
Garrett Cooper just hit a home run.
Yeah, you hate to see that, but You also, I sent you something about Kopech, which was super interesting too. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not, but we'll be chatting afterwards.
Check that out.
Yeah, it's 6-6. Garrett Cooper just. I mean, this is just Coors Field.
I love Garrett Cooper.
Love Garrett Cooper. But did you how did you play this game? Was it like full unit on Rockies? Like, did you make money back on the Soler? Like, how'd you do on this game? Just curious.
Just regular 1 unit Rockies. Then I have the half unit home run play, and then the half unit on one slip with Grishik Innick.
So you're going to make money on this game regardless, right?
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, when it comes to prize picks,
well, even if like let's say the Rockies lose, like that, right?
Yeah,
based on that math.
From Soler, yeah. But I mean, we have depending on, I don't know how to really value like Grishik being in like half of about 4 different slips. You know, it's kind of weird, but I have him in quite a few, so I can only hope.
And the Rockies are still at home. This game ain't over yet. That's your only play. Oh no, you got one more.
Let's only one because I had the Rockies initially because I mixed up the time. So this is the only one for today.
I mean, I like when we're both on a play. I think we got a pretty decent hit rate. No, I mean, we were texting this morning and you were like, I like Faedo's matchup. I'm like, thank God you like it because I've been literally in my bed for 2 hours watching this fucking dude being
Unreal.
like, just falling in love with him. And I'm like, I like it. I do. There's something here. And I just think the White Sox suck, but I like Giolito. I like the bullpens. Because I went with the full game under 2 instead of the first 5. Was there a reason that you liked full game under, not first 5?
Yeah, I mean, the Tigers bullpen has been good. The White Sox bullpen, when they have their full arsenal of guys, gives me a little hope that it's not going to be completely terrible. And not that I knew this kind of at the time of making the play, but I've seen that Nerfy about 60,000 times today. So I always go full game when there's a super corporate Nerfy on the board. So that always helps. And especially, I mean, the White Sox and Tigers I've seen it a million times with them. They have early runs and then they kind of fizzle out offensively throughout the rest of the game.
It's crazy. They just give up. I don't know what is with this series. They're like, all right, we'll mail it in. We scored enough.
They do. And I mean, I love, like I said, it's more predicated on Faedo's matchup. And even if he comes out of the game, Tigers bullpen's been good. And
yeah. The way I was looking at it, like even if let's say he gives up a 2-run home run to Luis Robert, hangs that fastball middle. I think Giolito goes 5 innings, 2 runs, I think, or, 6 innings, 3. I think that at worst, Faedo goes 6 innings, 3. 1 more run comes across the board from one of the bullpens for the win. And that's like, I think, worst case scenario with this game.
Yeah, you can hope. We can hope. But, yeah, it's my one pick. Shout out Squad Ride Best Money Line, Carlos Carrasco shove piece.
Yeah, break that down. I mean, everyone on stream is hammering the Cubs, but you guys are on the Mets.
I know everybody in the world is hammering the Cubs, which we were shocked to see. Kyle Hendricks in his first start back as a big public favorite. I didn't know how that happened, but I think Carlos Carrasco has a pretty good outing today. There's a reason. I mean, he just gave up 5 runs to arguably the worst offense in baseball. Right now, he's coming up against a very patient Cubs team, which I already always preach the Cubs patience theory because it comes to a head with a lot of pitchers. Should have come to a head, especially with him. So then you look at all the lines on the books, they don't really reflect that. So especially with the line flip now in the game, the Mets are sitting like minus 115-ish, between like minus 115, 110 on certain books.
Oh, really? I have him at minus 105 here. I mean, it might be just flipping back and forth and on different books.
Could be. Yeah. I mean, you look on some of the props for Carrasco, which they don't have them on prize picks, but
they have a 4.5 Ks where he hasn't gotten that in a year.
4.5 Ks. He hasn't hit that, in a single start this season, I don't think. He's up for 2.5 earned runs after giving up 5 to the Guardians. It's juiced the under at minus 150, which, yes, some of that could have to do with the hitting conditions at Wrigley, but it's all a little weird. But I actually do like the Mets bats a lot against Kyle Hendricks too. I think that's the perfect matchup for a lot of the guys. Like I wrote up second prop in the article, Francisco Alvarez, who's locked in right now. Love a lot of their matchups, especially at the bottom of the order. So I think they score today off of him, and I think Carrasco can be good enough.
What am I going to say? I mean, this is a coin flip game to me. So I don't know how everyone has an edge on either side. I'm like, yeah, it's 50-50. That's why people were like saying, do you like the Braves? Everyone was, a lot of people love the Braves. A lot of people love the Dodgers yesterday. And they're like, why don't you have a play? I'm like, it's a coin flip game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see an edge. Like it's Elder Gonsolin. Talk about variance, right? So I was like, I don't know. I don't have anything. 3-3 in the ninth. Came down to it. Braves won. I was like, yeah, you hit your Braves ticket, but like, I didn't see an edge, right? Long term. With this game, I feel the same way. So I'm just so surprised that everybody and their mother is on one side and over or under. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, if we could add plays up to the last second, the Mets would certainly be another pick on the card. I'll tell you that.
Okay. Appreciate you, my man. Thanks a lot for coming on. Glad that we're on the same side of this under. Let's hit an under. Let's hit a disgusting under that ends like 3-1, and it's just so boring, and I love it.
Wouldn't that be fun?
It'd be amazing. I love a good, horrible under. Appreciate you, my man. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Yeah, for sure. See you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we got KB in 2 minutes, and then we're going to say goodbye. Definitely Javon is a W. Who's on this Rockies? Reds under today was free. Yeah, what that game ended up? 2-1 Cardinals. Michaelis. God, that's such a good start for the Cardinals. They needed a start like that from him. Luke Weaver shoved. Lucas Sim blew it in the end. What happened? Gorman. God, I love Gorman. I love Nolan Gorman. Peter, we got to get Ben R for a bomb for the vibes. Ben R? Got to bet Ben R. What's Ben R? Stars or Knights, Peter? I don't know. Shit. You want to just off the cuff? I'm just going to read the line, not knowing anything. What's the series? 3-0? Dallas is -110? Dallas? Do you know anything about hockey code? Knights Stars. Do you know anything? I don't know. I don't know fucking anything. Oh, Ben Rortvedt. No, I mean, if you like him, I don't. I mean, maybe. No. VGK Vegas wins. I mean, all of you guys being on Vegas, with all due respect, makes you want to bet the Stars. And I don't know anything about hockey. But again, I respect you guys. Like, I know that humble brag, I think I have some of the smartest followers in the industry. No hate to anybody else out there, because I see the way that my followers, when they bet, I get their DMs, smart as shit. So if you guys like VGK, I respect that. Peter hates the Yankees, but I hate the Yankees, but they're my favorite team, but I hate them. Peter's an only NBA sharp, not NHL. I did have the Heat money. I mean, I didn't even bet it because I don't know shit. All right, we got KB. Enough of my dumbass talking about other sports. KB is coming on. KB, rare KB signing. We need you on stream more, dude. I love the way you break down a game. Happy to have you back on. Cohen, can you flash the leaderboard? Because I think, you're 1-1 or something?
No, I think I'm 2-5, Peter.
2-5. We got to make those back.
Definitely got to step it up. And yeah, I think this is the time of the year. Everything's been going pretty good. So I'm going to definitely be hopping on more. Hey, it's a competition. So you got to make sure the bets are going well before I just go out and start firing, you know?
It's a good point. And we got to get up to 100 picks to even qualify for the winner. So let's get going.
You're right. So I think everybody needs to get going a little bit, but it's kind of rigged that you're at the top. I will say that, dude.
It's a third-party tracked. I ain't touching anything.
Right.
I'm sure if you say it's rigged, all you're doing is hating on our staff. That's what you're doing. You're hating on our staff.
Yeah,
I don't touch shit.
Hey, I do got one play for today, though. I don't have too many notes in me, but I broke this down a couple times. So if you want me to just jump into it, I will, brother.
Get into it. Let's hear it.
Cool. It's going to be the Tigers versus
White Sox.
The White Sox, excuse me. Yes, you got Giolito on the bump for the White Sox, and you got Alex Faedo. Is that
Alex Faedo?
Faedo. Yeah, so basically, when I look at Giolito, man, this guy is continuing to get better. And the biggest thing about it is his walks are down. I'm taking the first 5 under 4 here. I love this. Takes 5 to beat us. Both these offenses, I do not trust at all. And then one trend, I'm not even a trend kind of guy, but just to support this a little bit more, if you look at division games, the White Sox, I'm pretty sure it was like 63% to the under this year in division games. If you look at the Tigers, they're like 75% to the under, Peter, in division games. And again, both these offenses, they can't be trusted at all. And when you look at like a guy like Alex Fiedo. He really has a 4.6 ERA. I know everybody's going to bash on that, but he has a 0.8 whip. The guy has been very efficient as not giving up 3 bags, and that's key for first 5 under. I don't trust the White Sox offense too much at all. A lot of those guys have no pop, and what Alex Fiedo has been doing great, or as far as like not letting guys on, is he gives up the home run ball, but I don't trust this White Sox offense. That's why he has a 4.6 ERA, is because of the home run ball. So I think he eliminates that tonight. Giolito, over his last 30 days, dude, he has like a 2.85 ERA. I trust both starting pitchers here. I'm just focusing on the first 5. Throw the bullpens out. I think we have a good day for a low-scoring game, brother.
Good stuff. I mean, I don't know if you knew, I'm on the full game under. Javon's on the full game under too. So it's good to hear you break it down, and you like the under early. And I actually like the Tigers bullpen. And when the White Sox have their best arms available, they can be pretty good. So I like the full game under, but glad to see 2-unit bomb. Let's start getting those units.
That's what I'm talking about. And I love that you and Javon are on. I saw Javon post it really late last night. I broke it down.
Yeah, Javon put it in our Discord at 3 a.m. and people were like, "Oh shit, Javon is late night."
No, but I can totally back this play, and I'm happy you boys are on it as well. So hopefully we all gain some units on it tonight.
Let's roll. You only have 1 pick, right?
Just 1. That's it, brother.
In and out. Let's get a winner here.
All right, Peter, I'm going to be on more. If the bets keep hitting, you'll see me on more often, baby.
We need you to even ride out cold streaks, my friend. I'll talk to you soon. All right, good stuff.
Soon, brother. Peace.
Have a good rest of your day. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you enjoyed the stream. That was a blast. I always have a good time. Just saying, if you want to follow another trend, right? KB talked about unders in division, whether that be the White Sox, whether that be the Tigers. I'm 3-0 in the shirt. I'm 3-0 in the shirt. Last time I wore the shirt, I went 2-0. Just hit the Rays today. $3-0 in the shirt. That's the trend that you want to follow. Appreciate everybody listening. Again, thank you guys. If you want to fade the plays, go right on ahead. They're all tracked on the Pickett Sports app. Use code Peter. We saw Jake have that Prize Picks entry. Make sure if you're new to Prize Picks and you want to play those right, you can't find like over 16 pitches in the first inning. Like all these really cool niche props, all on Prize Picks. Use code JustBaseball when you download. Full instant deposit match. There it is right there for all new users. Appreciate again everybody listening. We'll be back tomorrow for a huge slate. Tomorrow's stream is going to be awesome. But we have to remember, not gambling advice. Peace out, everybody.